Okay, next proof. If x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2 and x3 comma y3 are three vertices of parallelogram taken in order, then fourth vertex is x1 plus x3 minus x2 comma y1 plus y3 minus y2. So here given three vertices of parallelogram. So parallelogram is a quadrilateral. So three vertices of parallelogram. Generally a parallelogram has four vertices. So you already given three vertices. So what are they? x1 y1, x2 y2, x3 y3. So here x1 y1 are the coordinates of vertex A, x2 y2 are the coordinates of vertex B, x3 y3 coordinates of vertex C. So all vertices are taken in order. So first of all let us draw this parallelogram. So there is a parallelogram. So here vertices are taken in order. Suppose this is vertex A, vertex B, vertex C, vertex D. Okay na? So oka order lo తీసుకున్నాం. Okay na? Here I considered anti-clockwise direction. So na order enti ikkada anti-clockwise direction lo తీసుకున్నాను నేను vertices notation. Okay. Anyhow, here he already given three vertices x1 y1, x2 y2 and vertex C x3 y3. Let us consider coordinates of fourth vertex x4 comma y4, x4 comma y4. Now we need to find formula for coordinates of vertex D in terms of x1 y1, x2 y2, x3 y3. Okay. So here formula is fourth vertex is x1 plus x3 minus x2 comma y1 plus y3 minus y2. This is x coordinate of fourth vertex and this is y coordinate of fourth vertex. So it means coordinates of vertex D. So vertex D coordinates. So vertex D coordinates what? x4 comma y4. Here x4 comma y4 is equal to x1 plus x3 minus x2 comma y1 plus y3 minus y2. We have to prove this formula. So ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఫార్ములాని మనం ప్రూవ్ చేయాలి. ఈ ఫార్ములా ఎలా వచ్చింది? ఓకేనా? సో దిస్ ఈస్ ప్రూఫ్ 2. సో హౌ డు యు గెట్ fourth vertex of coordinates of fourth vertex of parallelogram from three known vertices. ఇక్కడ known vertices ఏమున్నాయి ఇక్కడ? x, ఓకేనా? vertex A, vertex B, vertex C. So we already have coordinates of vertex A, vertex B, vertex C. So we have to find fourth vertex. Let's derive this formula. Proof. Okay. So to prove this formula, to prove this statement, we have to recall properties of parallelogram. So in parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel and equal. At the same time, opposite angles are equal, opposite interior angles are equal. At the same time, in parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals bisect each other. So in general, in case of parallelogram, we have two diagonals, diagonal AC and diagonal BD. So manaki two diagonals unnai, diagonal AC and diagonal BD. So here two diagonals bisect each other. So bisect each other means each diagonal divided into two equal halves or two equal parts. Okay na? So two equal halves or two equal parts can divide outai each diagonal. Okay. So here let us say this intersection point B M. Here M is midpoint of diagonal AC as well as diagonal BD. Why? Because in case of parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. Bisect each other means one diagonal divides other diagonal into two equal parts. అంటే two equal parts కింద డివైడ్ చేస్తుంది ఒక diagonal ఇంకో diagonal ని. ఓకేనా? It means both the diagonals will have కామన్ మిడ్ పాయింట్, రెండింటికి సేమ్ మిడ్ పాయింటే ఉంటుంది. ఓకేనా? సో ఎందుకంటే ఈక్వల్ పార్ట్స్ కింద డివైడ్ చేసుకుంటున్నాయి కదా. సో హియర్ వీ కెన్ రైట్ వన్ స్టేట్మెంట్. ఇన్ parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals bisect each other. Okay na? Diagonals bisect each other. So what is meant by diagonal? First of all, what is diagonal? A diagonal is a line segment which connects two opposite vertices of parallelogram. Okay. So opposite vertices ni ఏ లైన్ సెగ్మెంట్ అయితే జాయిన్ చేస్తుందో ఆ లైన్ సెగ్మెంట్ ఏమంటాం మనం? డయాగ్నల్ అంటాం. సో ఓకే, హియర్ డయాగ్నల్స్ ఆర్ AC and BD. AC and BD are diagonals. So what is M here? Very important. Here M is midpoint of diagonals or line segments AC and BD. Here diagonal AC and BD are having same midpoint. Okay. So okay, anyhow, let us find midpoint of AC and midpoint of BD separately using these coordinates. Okay. So let us find midpoint of diagonal AC. Midpoint of diagonal AC. Here M is midpoint of diagonal AC. So what is midpoint? So it's a point, okay na, where diagonal or a line segment divided into two equal parts. Okay na? Here M divides diagonal AC into two equal parts. So how do you get coordinates of this midpoint? So first of all, what are the coordinates of vertex A? x1 comma y1. Coordinates of vertex C? x3 comma y3. Now what is the midpoint of diagonal AC? Midpoint of diagonal AC is M. Midpoint of diagonal AC is M. And whose coordinates are? How do we get coordinates of this midpoint? Take average of x coordinates and average of y coordinates. You will get x1 plus x3 by 2, y1 plus y3 by 2. Average or mean. So midpoint coordinates of midpoint of diagonal AC is x1 plus x3 by 2, y1 plus y3 by 2. Next, similarly, midpoint of diagonal BD. Midpoint of diagonal BD. So M is also a midpoint of diagonal BD. So what are the coordinates here? Coordinates of M are, in this case, so coordinates of vertex D is x4 y4. Coordinates of vertex B is x2 y2. Take to get x coordinate of midpoint M, take average of x coordinates. So x1 plus x2 plus x4 by 2, comma. Similarly, to get y coordinate of this midpoint, take average of y coordinates, y2 plus y4 by 2. But here M is common midpoint of diagonals AC and BD. So ఈ రెండిటికి ఇది కామన్ మిడ్ పాయింట్ కదా. సో అంటే దాని మీనింగ్ ఏంటి? ఓకేనా? సో మిడ్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ diagonal AC is equal to midpoint of diagonal BD. So what are the coordinates of this midpoint? x1 plus x3 by 2, comma y1 plus y3 by 2. Okay na? So these two coordinates are equal to, what is the midpoint of diagonal BD? Coordinates of midpoint of diagonal BD, x2 plus x4 by 2, y2 plus y4 by 2. Okay, na? Both are having same midpoint. So coordinates also equal. So two order pairs are equal. When two order pairs are equal, x coordinate equal to x coordinate, y coordinate equal to y coordinate. Two order pairs eppudu equal avutayi when x coordinate equal to x coordinate. It means here x1 plus x3 by 2 is equal to x2 plus x4 by 2. X coordinate equal to x coordinate. Similarly, y coordinate equal to y coordinate. y1 plus y3 by 2 is equal to y2 plus y4 by 2. So denominator to denominator to get cancelled, here denominator to denominator to get cancelled. We need coordinates of vertex D. So we need x4 and y4. How do you get x4 from here? From this equation? Transpose x2. x4 is equal to x1 plus x3. Positive x2 becomes negative x2. Similarly, how do we get y coordinate of vertex D? So we need y4 here. Transpose y2. You will get y1 plus y3 minus positive y2 becomes negative y2. Therefore, coordinates of vertex D are, what are the coordinates of vertex? Fourth vertex. Vertex D means fourth vertex. Here D is fourth vertex. x1 plus x3 minus x2, y1 plus y3 minus y2. Okay, now. So this is the method, one of the method to find fourth vertex of parallelogram using three known vertices. Okay.